Today we're talking about Metis Analytics. Like I said earlier, Metis is actually a goddess of understanding, a Greek goddess of understanding and knowledge. And we're going to dig deep into that. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so this is Mark. Mark just recently retired from the military. He just got a job as a global risk manager at an energy company which employs over 50,000 people worldwide. Of course, this company, they're relying on Mark to be able to analyze and predict risks and mitigate them. Mark is excited about the job, and of course, he's ready to rock, and he's also trying to figure out what does he need to do in this role, right? Part of Mark's job is to be able to predict and understand geopolitical events worldwide, and over the past couple of years, especially with the war in Ukraine, over 93% of multinational corporations experience huge losses in the global markets. Even with Russia right now, companies have had to pull out and actually pay the Russian government to actually get out and to have them take over their assets in Russia. So this is part of Mark's job. He has to be able to understand, how geopolitical conflicts affect the organization's goals and employees. Natural disasters. Over 200 million people are affected annually by floods, by different natural disasters, hurricanes, all different types of stuff. And that, of course, that affects whether you're a remote worker. If your neighborhood gets flooded, your Wi-Fi is out, right? So you may not be able to work. So that affects these companies. It affects the situation that they are in. Terrorism. Did anybody know that actually every year there's on average 13,000 terrorist incidents alone, right? So that's something that, of course, Mark, working at a global company, he has to take into effect. Every 39 seconds, there's a new cyber attack that's occurring every 39 seconds, right? So, and of course, with the advances in AI technology, that, of course, is getting more sophisticated. Vendors are getting affected. So as a global company, Mark now has to be able to predict and mitigate these different risks. And like I said, his job is getting really interested, and he was really excited about this awesome new job. And now, of course, it's just getting a lot more. He also has to worry about being an energy company. He has to worry about industrial incidences. So on average, there's 340 million industrial accidents every single year. COVID is not gone. He also has to worry about other diseases like Ebola, just different stuff that these companies that have different workforces all across the world. So he should have asked, why did the last guy quit? So he's overloaded, and then of course he decides to leave work early and go have a drink. He went to Venture Cafe. And luckily at Venture Cafe he met Janelle. Janelle is also a global risk manager at a competing energy company. And while they're talking, she tells him about this really great platform that she's using called Metis OS. So Metis OS is AI agent for her, and it really helps her be able to predict these events that are happening, all these things that Mark has to worry about. It helps predict and analyze all that data, makes her job a lot easier to do. After signing up for a free trial, Mark really is excited just about Metis OS because he can analyze data in real time, predict these type of global events that can affect his company. And one of the really cool features that he likes about Metis OS is that he can actually ask Metis questions. There's a large language model attached to Metis OS, so he can just ask, like, hey, what are some active threats I need to worry about today, or what are things I should be looking at. Also, anything that he flags, it can help him understand these incidences a lot better. So he's really excited. He can rest a lot easier and not be so stressed out at work. So this was really cool, but how does it actually work, right? So Metis OS, Metis, and it's a she, so remember she is the goddess of understanding and knowledge. She actually crawls the web every single day and looks for different indicators of threats, things that affect our organizations, can affect the organization's workforce. So it looks at satellite imagery, social media, public records, all different things to really find these threats, and then also ways to be able to mitigate them. So companies, they have different data centers in different countries. So how does this hurricane affect that data center, and what are the things that you can do to mitigate that risk? So how do you interact with Metis? So Metis, you can actually interact with it via platform or just API. So you may have your own system where it looks in you have all your data at your company organization. You say, hey, I just want to be able to call that API that helps me kind of get a global view, not only on my internal data, but also external data as well. So that's something that more like government customers are using it for. So a little bit about the team. So Chris DeRuiter, he is my co-founder and also director of governmental affairs. Just recently retired lieutenant colonel. Myself, from the military, been a police officer for a long time, and then also do crime data analytics as well. It's part of my role. And our team of advisors. Advisors are really, really awesome people. James Samuel, former NGA executive, Greg Kaiser, former FBI supervisor agent, and also current DIA, Defense Intelligence Agency. Steven Rodriguez, he is the founder of an intelligence, defense venture capital firm, as well as former CIA. Sarah Adams, also former CIA as well. They are very much embedded in helping us reach government customers as well as corporate. A little bit about our milestones real quick. IDEO was formed last year, recently launched our MVP product, and then in January we actually became a government contractor. The CIA found out about us through our advisors and brought us into their internal government CIA contract. And then we recently launched our alpha platform, and we'll soon launch our official version of Metis. How do we make money? So, software as a service, of course, SaaS, with our platform. API as a service, the government customers can just call that API and get the data, and then, of course, intelligence as a service. What it didn't show on our team slide, we actually have 4 amazing analysts that actually clean data every day and make sure it's good, and actually can work on customized projects. And then Palantir, they're actually our acquisition target, where we want to be acquired by them in the next 3 years. They're the beast of this kind of data analytics, predictive data analytics. Target customers, corporations, any type of corporations that are multinational, that have global workforces. Like I said, over like 500 employees. Also governments as well. Any threat managers, risk consultants, anybody that is connected to a company that works globally, and just spread the word about Metis Analytics. This is our first presentation open to the public. So thank you.
Not bad. Questions?
So at the very beginning, 60% of the people in this room were looking at their cell phones while you were talking.
Okay.
Now, so what that means is, so I generally, in helping people do these things, don't recommend a story.
What?
Because you interest a couple people in the story, but nobody knows Mark or whatever his name is. But you could literally open the slide with predicting major international threats to your business. What if you could, or if you predicted which could save companies billions of dollars, whatever, some one line that gets us to go, oh, that's pretty cool, instead of not one person lean forward. So when you talk to somebody in a situation and you get them, hook them, they all do this. And so as you watch your audience, are they doing this? Or are they doing this? So you didn't get anybody in this room to do this. So what normally you want to open with, you have 7 seconds to get our attention, to get us to go from here to here. And it's got to hit really hard. So we say, oh my God, if you can solve that, I am so on board. Does that make sense? So when it took you probably 8, 9 slides before we even knew what you did. So my suggestion is you start with, you can have bullet points, $193 million on this, blah, 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 blah. We've all seen floods. We've all seen terrorism, blah, 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 blah. We may not realize, oh my God, there have been that many terror. That's pretty cool. So those can hit next, but just put them on a slide. And then later you can tell the story of all that if you really want to. Now this is just my opinion on how to do this, but I watch the room while you talk, and the room wasn't, you all can say, I was totally engaged, so tell them that.
I was looking up, I couldn't remember the name of the Tom Cruise movie, Minority Report. That's what I was looking up. Because I was like, this sounds like Minority Report shit. So I was interested, but I wanted you, I totally agree with Ned in the sense that I wanted to get how you got there. You were talking about all the stuff, and every fact you pulled up, it was holy shit, really?
Yeah.
It was, just didn't know the scale. Although it's amazing that 2 of your numbers were 340 million. I was like, is that right? No, I wanted you to get to how are you delivering on this, and so I have a lot of questions on how you're delivering on this. So I will get to that. Mary has a question.
Yeah, do you have information about success from getting predictability? So for example, through data analytics, the FBI has been able to avert this many incidents. That might be a useful fact to put in there. I would like to know what your revenues are so far, and what's your model for making money?
The model, like I said, is software as a service. The platform that can interact with the platform is 175 per user per license, average of like 10 licenses. So right now we have basically is that still recorded? Okay. So we have a government customer, or that's a patent.
Okay, and you kind of glossed over your goal is to be bought by a bigger company, right?
Yes, Palantir.
Okay. And why them?
Yeah, so we align more with just the Palantir's growth at the end of the day. Like Palantir is basically, the next few years there will be only a few super intelligence models that really predict and analyze data globally. And Palantir is very much well on their way. They're very effective in the Ukraine war. Most of the government uses Palantir, different governments around the world. And then also like there are people from the CIA. They've been helpful in helping us kind of integrate with some of like Palantir stuff. So.
Go for it.
Yeah. right along the lines of what Mary was saying. You've got a lot of numbers in the presentation, but I think the most important number is missing, which is if you were to have this platform that could analyze and predict these threats, what would be the financial impact to the organization that's going to be paying the money? So like take an example incident that was found and the financial impact to the organization if it wasn't found, and then say, okay, they spent $175 for this one user to know that this incident was happening. If without that $175, it would have cost them $300,000. In damages.
Kind of like what verified backups did with, we had the backup, so they were up in 24 hours rather than being down for 4 months like this other company. So.
Yeah, I'd like to know more about how this works. Like, what I mean by that is like, I was really hoping when you had like the search bar, the chat, I was like, I was hoping you're going to show a demonstration of you being like, okay, I'm a multinational energy company because that seems, and I am in Nigeria, and I know there's been some, you type in, what are my potential risks in Nigeria for the next 3 months, and boom, and it spits out this, this you need to think about this. To me that, is that what it does, basically?
So there are 3 versions of Metis. Metis OSINT, so it can actually just crawl open source intelligence. Then Metis internal, so Metis can actually go inside your organization and look at all your data, and then you can query more intelligence on that data. And then cleared is more for the government customers, where it can actually can have access to confidential top secret information.
So one of the things that kind of happened to you was you spent so much time on the beginning that you really never really told us what your thing does, which is resulting in a whole bunch of questions about what is it that you do. So if you can tighten the top, and then you have 6 minutes instead of 2 minutes to it's kind of, you see, you really hit with what it is, the problem. What's the problem? How do you solve it? And then you can do whatever you want. But usually you do industry size, opportunity or something like that. But
because you're making this company is a bold statement. It's a really bold statement. We can predict future problems for companies, saving them hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. Bold statement. I kind of want to know how you're going to do that. I think you really, and I don't want to give, I don't want you to give away your secret sauce. And obviously AI, you're almost not giving away your secret. It's like almost, it would be impossible for you to give away your secret sauce without your code, and I couldn't do anything with that. But I need to know how someone's, how this is, like you said, one incident, boom, can say this. So I think that's where you want to spend the most of your time, because like I said, people are intrinsically going to be, that's great, I don't believe it. It doesn't matter all the people you have on your board, and your board, that is impressive.
Strong board.
Yeah, and by the way,
it could be a lot earlier, because that's a big deal. Your management team is a big deal.
And you're doing, you put CEO, put your bullet points, man. We all know you're an impressive dude, but the other people don't know that.
Rather than Mark's story, I want to know Christian's story. How did you come up with this? What sparked you deciding, wait a minute, there's data out there that people aren't analyzing, and I could do this? Where did that come from?
And the other question I had when I was thinking about this, I said, you can't tell me that some giant tech company isn't already doing all of this with a ridiculously high level of experience and data analytics with, servers all over the place and yada, yada, yada. I don't know what all it takes to do this stuff. And how is a little company like you going to even make a dent against whoever's doing that stuff. And I think that's important for us to understand. What is your magic bullet? What makes you capable of doing something that Plaxair or whatever they were called isn't doing? Why would they care about buying you in 3 years? What is it that you do that they can possibly do? So I mean, I guess that's another thing that hurdle you have to get over and convince us that.
What is your answer? Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
I was like throwing a bunch of questions. I'm like, somebody please
Start answering. Yeah, start answering.
I really was hoping that like people would just ask me the question and like, dig into it. So kind of one of the biggest things, I would say like our secret sauce, very much is our crawlers that are crawling like different websites, different things every single day, and then using language models to actually go through that data and make predictions of risk. That's kind of like the big thing, right? And a lot of companies, they are having to try to just like kind of real time, try to like analyze a lot of data. But any type of analyst, they're just overwhelmed by analysis paralysis, right? So that's really just like the big thing is that we have crawlers that then get analyzed. That data gets analyzed for different specific regions. So
How do you get access to that data?
So a lot of this data is like publicly available. We only use publicly available information. So these are a lot of them are APIs, like weather APIs. Sudan, we have air flight information. We have vessel data that comes in every day. Also news articles. So it can literally read. I can crawl a news article, read it, pull out any type of indicators that something's happening. Also tweets as well.
To sort of bounce off of something that Ned said, it's similar. I want to know, and I'm now blanking on my question. Oh my god, dang it! I waited too long to ask it. But
You're not against everything yet.
But essentially the question is that I've got it finally. Oh god, thank goodness. I wasn't even okay. So what amount of money is potential customer, like dream customer, what amount of money are they spending on the problem right now? Because, I mean, there's no way that the largest government, the most intelligent governments are not like spending, like they're already analyzing they're analyzing every inch of Russia and every inch of the Ukraine. But I'm sure that if they had a technology like this, maybe it would be, I'm assuming that your claim to fame is going to be you're going to make it cheaper because you're going to use technology to do this instead of like a room full of freaking data analysts that have to like pour through this all the time, not using large language models. So the question I would have is how much are these organizations spending on this? And I think that might end up being your key selling point that should definitely be in the slide.
Are you using sort of Freakonomics models too, so that you're not just analyzing the typical data that goes into these predictors, throwing in some other stuff that may be predictive and nobody's paying any attention to it?
Yeah, so what's really cool is that it not only can predict stuff, but also it can store a lot of this information into our database to kind of be to also be able to use like historical data as well. So that's also the big part. Like, so you may be trying to like, look at like kind of real time stuff, but like also if you're trying to like forecast future threats, actually a lot of stuff historically could actually help you. And that's also, we're basically amassing not only just a lot of data, but also like a lot of the right data. And that's really what matters, right? So even like when you look at like the FBI publishes like crime data and stuff like that, and those are great, but really also not only what happened, but why did it happen, right? And a lot of that information is actually in the location of itself. Was it the lighting? What was the reasoning behind like a specific incident? and actually how can that affect the future. So that's really kind of what we're doing. It's actually the intelligence of the data.
So are you able to get like, can you crawl into the like dark web and take out, I mean, can you get through?
Yeah, so actually all our analysts are all cyber intel guys. Actually, also work with government as well. So yeah, we do that daily as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, oh, sorry. I say, it just, the whole thing seems so overwhelming,
Yeah.
so overwhelmingly
Yeah.
large, that I'm just, I mean,
Mhm.
I'm just having trouble wrapping my head around, A, how you can parse out any meaningful data. Like, you have all this data, and then make it actionable for people.
Yeah.
And can you, I mean, talk a little more, I mean, that's really an open-ended question.
So I'll take. So can I take one scenario?
Sure,
Actually,
yeah, that'd be
I'm
great,
doing
yeah,
it right now.
that'd be perfect, yeah.
So currently, actually, as we speak right now, so Sudan, like I said earlier in my presentation, two generals are fighting over land right now in Sudan. Past week, the American embassy had evacuated the British, every country, the major country that has an embassy in Sudan, they had to evacuate people. Also, Americans, living there, that may have also not have checked in with the embassy when they came there, or just there for work or whatever they're there for, they have been stranded. So they've contacted a lot of like nonprofit organizations. Those nonprofit organizations are working with us. We provide up-to-date intelligence on current conflicts, road blockages, current flights that are coming in to help out. Also, Wagner Group, which is the Russian paramilitary group, they're trying to influence the situation. So we analyze a lot of open source data coming from outside people as well that are trying to influence
The
on the
situation
ground.
in Sudan?
Yes,
So
yes,
so the
yes.
Russians are trying to have some influence in this one?
Yes, yes. So what we do, we're currently, right now, our team is working, so we have analysts working with our AI to pull all that data and give these organizations daily updates on what's happening as well. We also analyze satellite imagery. So early into the conflict, they bombed the international airport there, where it became unusable. We had to pull that information up to see how many planes were bombed. Basically it became that any type of evacuees, they had to go to another airport to get there. So that's what we really have been doing currently as we speak. Helping these organizations that are on the ground, getting Americans out with that intelligence.
Here's my follow-up question to that is, when did your company realize Sudan was a threat?
So actually very early on, probably not as fast as I would have liked. We got early indications actually from the government intel community that something actually was happening, and then we were able to kind of start to analyze a lot of the data. But that's one of our biggest things is that we want to be very much that early predictor.
Yeah, even if it's 48 hours. Even if it's, 48 hours, we realized this thing was going not nuclear, but nuclear in a metaphorical sense.
I would say it was in like the 48 hours, but our goal is very much early.
Right.
So do you know the why? Why is Russia trying to get involved? What is it for them to gain?
So that's more, the thing is like they're really trying to have more influence in Africa itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So any country that, has influence, in these global, Africa, any country in Africa has so many like minerals and resources,
Mm-hmm.
zinc and
The
all that
most
stuff,
resources.
right? So they're trying to have influence into those areas, into the governments, or buying the governments. They're basically charging these governments for protection against like other warring.
So they're providing
people.
some type of service.
Yes, and so they're heavily in a lot of these things. Also, intelligence suggests that they've actually, I know that's still recording, but that they actually are influential in actually creating the Sudan conflict. Yeah, so.
One thing I'd love to see, and you know, I'm not the most experienced person in the room, so take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. But one thing I'd love to see is a beachhead. You got such a big platform with so many different types of organizations. It was basically like large organizations and governments, which is like tons of like potential customers. But as we went through the conversation, the things that it seems like you've been most focused on is like these military conflicts and sort of military conflicts and maybe even terrorism to some extent. Even if that's not the beachhead, I would love for there to be a beachhead. Like you have like 3 different products, like not just the 3 different service, like not just 3 different revenue models, but you had 3 different products inside of Metis that you brought up, and I'm like, okay, well, which one of those is going to be the first one that gets you the traction to be able to then go and do more? What's going to be the tip of the blade?
What are you best at?
It's definitely open source.
So to follow up, because it was going to be the same question I was going to have, is where is the money? In other words, is it with who is farthest behind the curve and thus presents the biggest opportunity with the most money? So it's one thing to say to the government, I'm going to help you identify conflicts so that you can get your people out sooner. I don't know how much money is involved in that.
And that's why I say
but if you say to a major corporation, then there's millions of dollars of their money that really matters. The government's horrible about just saying, well, it's all y'all's money. I'm on, so we can spend it. But when it's my money, because I run the company.
Has helped us kind of get a traction of of kind of just like helping us build the technology. But our customers are corporations that have over 500 people.
That's your biggest target customer
Yes,
base.
that
Are international and blah, blah, blah. Because, some of these companies, there are big, good-sized companies that aren't giant companies. You would think the giant companies have their thing, but if you're a medium-sized company that wants to, now, so the other thing that we really thought, I was an old strategist, we did an analysis of a company wanted to go into Brazil, and we figured the easiest way to do it was through Chile and blah, blah, blah. It was very complicated, it was cool. But predicting what are the possibilities of problems that I might have if I want to expand into Brazil would be, I'm not there yet. I want to know, is that a smart move or am I an idiot? Just because I think Brazil's a big market, should I go there? No, because, this. Oh yeah, but you have to do it this way. That kind of thing, I would think would be a big possibility. Companies that are trying to grow, but aren't IBM, that have been around 1 million years and are literally around the world.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
One of the things when he brought up about like the other companies within the industry, I think would be a good idea too to add like the revenue that each company, because you said you wanted to be maybe purchased by, was it Palantir? Each one of them, if you could put like what their today value is in dollar terms, so that way then people could see that, because you gave an overall view of each industry, but then also they could see a breakdown like this company is worth this company is evaluated at that, and then that way too, then it also help understand what piece of the pie you're trying to get, as well as when you're looking at from a marketing standpoint, when you're coming in, because that's my background too, it helps to understand like, okay, well, you want to be a player here. So kind of like where you would align like, okay, this is what they do well, this is what all the different companies do well, where do you want to play, what playground are you going to go to? And then that way you have a good understanding of the pieces of the market that you'll get.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Can I ask you one question?